This is another Sony DCRTRV110 Digital 8 camcorder that was brought in, 2 of 3. There's another one that will follow this one. And this one here, he says the zoom control does not work. But it's got more problems than that. As we'll find out once I get into it, some moron sprayed cleaner into the camera and got it all over the mechanism. Wonderful. We're going to have to clean that mess up and see how many tapes I wreck in the process. This time I have another DCRTRV110. This one here, the complaint is that the zoom doesn't work. There's a good chance it's going to be the ribbon cable that connects between here and the main board. That's usually what goes wrong with them, is that ribbon cable, because it's always moving every time you eject a tape. That ribbon cable moves. That was one of the biggest headaches with these ones. And the screws, of course, that fall out on the chassis, which may have fallen out on this one too. But let's just see what it does. See whether there's any indication that it's going to try to zoom. Like when I press the zoom control, nothing appears to happen at all. I'm going to try remote control and see if it zooms. That'll tell us whether the problem is in here. It's like the mechanism's falling apart on this one too. It's going to have screws falling out on it. It's going to need the basic work. But let me find a remote and see if it zooms with the remote. So if we look down on the display here, when I turn the zoom on the camera, that should move, but it doesn't. But when I use the remote control, it zooms. So there's a good chance that that's all the fault is on this. Well, pretty much guarantee you that's the only fault, is the actual ribbon that connects the power board to the chassis that raises up is bad. That's where the fault is going to be on this one. Pretty much guarantee it. What we might be able to do on this one is that other camera, that the camera section wasn't working, make that one work. I don't know, we'll have to tear into this one and see if I can get a good working camera from bad ones, because this one here with this ribbon cable is going to have a tear in it. Do the other buttons work is what I'm curious, because it's the same, well, it's not the eject, but these other buttons here also are on that same ribbon cable. It's the one that runs down the back here. And when one goes bad, the others usually follow relatively soon. So it's still working right now as far as the transport goes. Fast forward, rewind, play. Although it's not playing anything. There we go. Now it's detected it's a high 8 or 8mm tape. Still not playing. So we may have more problems than this. We'll try a digital 8 tape. See whether it'll play this digital 8 tape. There's a third one also that has transport problems. This is not reading this tape. Switching to high 8. This is a digital 8 tape that's on here. Yeah, so this has got more problems than not just having the zoom work. This one doesn't play back either, because this is definitely a digital 8 tape. And this one here is a regular 8mm tape. We'll see whether we see anything on this. See if we can get any type of an idea as to where the problem is. Nothing. Fast forward to see if we get a partial picture. Very snowy. Could be the heads are clogged. Could be the heads are worn. I guess the only way to tell is to actually tear this thing down and get into it and see where the fault might be. But another camcorder that's got issues, so we'll just tear into this one, and I'll pick this up once I get it apart. I think what I may end up doing on this, because it's the same fellow that owns, he brought 3 cameras to me, I just may end up doing a board swap between this one and the one that the camera wasn't working, so that he ends up with one that's fully functional. Because if it's the key switch on here that's bad, which I'm pretty sure that that's where the fault is going to be the key switch. That's a part you're not going to get. So if I can pull a working camera section out of this one and put it in the other one, then he's got a functional camera that all the functions will work. So we might do that in this video, just swap them over. We'll take a look and see how bad this is, because it won't take long. It's going to pop it apart, and I would just basically swap everything over. Swap the board, the camera section, swap everything over all at once. This one here is not in great shape either. Cosmetically, this one's got, this one looks well worn. The other one looks to be in much better cosmetic shape than this one. So we may end up doing a swapperoo. So unplug this. Remove the side cover. See, these come apart pretty quick once you remove all the screws. They do come apart quite quickly. Oh, when you get all the screws, that is. You can see that the screws come apart on this one too, you see. Same things happened right down here. If we look down through here, that screw bit, it hasn't come out all the way on this one. So there's no, and that screw hasn't fallen out on this one. That fell out on the other one. That was the one that was lying inside. And this one here, the connector's not all broken and twisted over. So what I probably will do on this one is I'm just going to swap the whole camera board over, because I got to pull this apart anyway to fix these connectors, which go bad on them all. I might as well, while I'm in here, just swap the board over and make a good one out of a bad one. This is the ribbon cable here. I think is probably damaged. We can look at it and see if I can spot it. Usually it breaks right at the point where it creases, and in this case it's just severed the connection for the zoom. But the other ones won't be far behind it. If this one's broken for zoom, the other connections on here probably are not very far behind. Could be the switch too, but usually it's this, because this bends back and forth when the cassette rises up. This bends back and forth, and all it takes is just a little bit of dirt to get either on this side or on this side here, get trapped in here, and every time it goes up and down it grinds away, and then you end up with a connection that's open. Let's try to see if I can shine a flashlight through and see if I can see any light getting through on any of the traces. That's usually a good indicator that it's broken. Could be just at the end here too, but usually it breaks right down here. But that's more than likely where the fault is on this one. I'm going to prep the other one. At least we'll get one camera working. So let me go grab the other one. I'm going to prep it. We'll swap the boards over so that I can at least make one work. I got to pull the board on this anyway, because I got to tighten down that screw. So this is all got to come out. It's not like it's not going to be removed. It's all got to come out, so might as well just prep it, swap it over, and at least make one that works out of two. And then there's a third one as well, which I'll be getting to that a little bit later, but for now, we'll try to get these ones going. So I'll just pull the camera section out. And there's one more screw up here. And that camera section will lift out, and I will just swap this whole entire unit over. Take off the front panel here. Oh, looks like this has been wet. Look at this. Like has somebody been spraying something? It's all soaking wet. What the hell? Look at this. It's like someone's been spraying cleaner or something. It's almost like oil. I wonder if that's why it doesn't play. I probably just contaminated my tape. So it looks like somebody's been oh, this has got oil. Somebody sprayed oil into this thing. It smells like contact cleaner of some type. Somebody's given this thing a wash. I probably just ruined my tapes. Great. I just put 2 of my test tapes in here, and I've probably left a film or something on them. Wonderful. Okay. I'll unplug the deck from here. Get the board out. We'll tighten this down, and then I'm going to swap the board over to the other one. Lift the whole camera board away. I'll tighten down these screws that work their way out. This one here. And this one here. I'll try to get this working, this mechanism. I'm going to try to, I'm not giving up on the mech. I've got to clean this, obviously, because it's filthy. It's got oil in it. I don't know if it's on the head or not, but it certainly had oil in the bottom here, where someone sprayed contact cleaner into it. There's probably evidence inside here as well that there's contact cleaner been sprayed into it. It was certainly in the bottom. I wonder how it got in there. Someone's obviously sprayed it in somewhere, but it was certainly in the bottom. You can see it on the on the connectors here. And I can see some on the bottom of the head drum and on the loading motor. This is the other one with the bad camera block. I'm just going to, I say it was likely their edge connector, but I'm just going to swap it all over. It's just faster. Just pop out the screws, and I'm keeping the units separate too, so I know which pieces go with which unit, so they're not going to get mixed up. I can tear one of these down when I'm not filming. I can tear one of these down in a couple of minutes. They're pretty simple to tear them down. one board out. We'll put that one in the other camera that has the bad zoom switch, and we'll put this board back into this one. One thing that this camera didn't have is it did not have the ability to digitize analog signals. You could record them to tape, but it did not have the ability to pass through because it was the first generation device. The next generation of Digital 8, they added the ability to pass a signal through, so you could just use it as a device to digitize other analog sources to a DV stream. But on this one, you could record onto the tape, and that was it. I know, because I used to use mine to record the output from the computer. I used one of these. I used this camera for a while as a slave recorder on my EVW300 when I was making the transition to everything digital. I'm just going to undo this just to make it easier to install it. But when I was still shooting stuff with my EVW300, I wasn't recording on high 8 tape anymore at that point. I'd made the migration to digital. So what I did was I took my EVW300, I took the S-video out and the audio out, and I ran it into the S-video in and audio in on my 110, and used this as a Digital 8 recorder, and used just the camera section from the EVW300, because then I had basically a 3-chip broadcast camera that could record onto Digital 8 tape. Okay, we'll plug this connector back in. And of course, we'll test this one first before I throw it all back together to make sure everything's working. Anyway, recording using my broadcast camera as the camera source into the Digital 8 recorder, the quality was fantastic, because these things had terrible pickups on them. The CCD on the Digital 8 was like the lowest quality CCD I think they made. They didn't want them looking as good as the DV camera, so they gave them a really poor quality front end, so they look like crap. But the tape transport on them was the same as DV. It was the same as DV cam. It was excellent. So if you gave it a good source through S-video or even composite, they would outperform pretty much every other camera you could get your hands on at the time, at least the consumer cameras. It turned this into a truly professional platform, plugging a broadcast camera into the TRV110 through the S-video input. So this is the one that of course had the bad picture yesterday, and now it's got, I basically swapped the board over, put on the one that had the good zoom cable, right, and put that on the, put the good camera on that, or put the one with the good transport and good zoom and controls, put the board on there with the good camera. So that solves that issue. Just need to make sure that the transport still works, which there's no reason why it won't, but we'll just make sure that it does. I'll even do a quick recording on here. I don't have the microphone hooked up or anything yet, but I just want to make sure that everything is working, that it plays back okay. Watch, my head's contaminated now because I just put a tape in that was in the other machine. There's some high 8 stuff that was recorded on this tape as well, so we know that that works. I'm going to plug a microphone in and we'll just do a quick recording just to make sure before I put it back together. I'll just plug the microphone in. Just throw a few screws in here just to hold it together. Well, the microphone worked. There we go. Okay, I'm going to do my test recording. Make sure that it records. Okay, I'll unplug this while I'm making my test recording. And we'll record for a few seconds here. And then play it back and make sure it works. There we go. This while I'm making my test recording. And we'll record for a few seconds here. Okay, so, and then play it back and make sure it works. And it does. Go back into camera mode here, just make sure that everything works now that I got it together. Yeah, zoom works on this one, so this one's good to go. Okay, back onto the other one. Let's see if I can make this into a tape player. Put the other camera board here that's got the issues. And see if I can get this running just as a player. Make it work as a player, everybody's happy. Especially since he's got one fully working camera out of the deal. So far. And the third one, I haven't got to it yet. We may end up picking parts off of this one to get the other one going. Once I get this one back together, or see if I can get this one working. Once I get to the other one again, I don't know. I don't know what shape it's in or what needs to be done on it, but I may be able to get it working. Apparently the tape transport's got a problem. That's what the notes say. Again, I'll have to see what it's like once I actually get into it and evaluate it. But oops, that's not a great screw. Too short. There we go. Plug in my FireWire and outputs again. Watch me plug this in and have the zoom start working. Wouldn't that be funny? It's possible. It could happen. But I'm pretty sure that this cable's damaged. Because this was a really common failure on these. They call the part switch block control, and I changed the number. I changed it on my 110. Mine failed. Mine, the record button's over here. It has 2 buttons you press to go to record, and it wouldn't go into record. I used to use them all the time when I was using it as a slave recorder for my EVW 300. And at one point the buttons stopped working. The record buttons wouldn't work, so I changed the block. Put it through under warranty. Totally defrauding Sony. But yeah, put it through under warranty. We took a demo model from the store and used the serial number off of that and ordered the block in just to get it put through so that I could get it. And then I got paid to do the warranty work. I wasn't stupid. I knew how to get what I wanted. If something, I used to have what we used to, all of us at the shop, we used to call it the endless Sony warranty, because, we could get things put through long after the warranty was up by just going to the computer and finding another customer that purchased one, you know, with a sale date, so we could put down the date. If we had none in stock, we could take a display model and do it with that, which we used to do all the time. See, I would never talk about this when the store was around, but they've been gone for 10 years, and anybody that was ever involved with the business is now all deceased. So there's no repercussions to telling you guys some of the crap we used to pull on them. I'm sure that all the other dealers probably did the same thing as well. We'd get stuff put through that was well past warranty by just using a different serial number. We'd look up someone else's that was close to expiring that may not have made a claim, and as long as it was within that year, we'd look up a customer who bought the model within and it was close to expiring but hadn't expired, and then put the claim through on that and get paid. That was the way we did it. Okay, I think that's hooked up enough that I can get a picture of this thing. Just for the hell of it. See if of course the camera picture doesn't work. Oh, of course, now the zoom works. What the hell? Now the zoom works. Must have been just not seated properly. Oh well. So I could have just pulled the board apart and done that. Oh well, it's working now. The camera looks as bad as it looked before. Let's see if the player will work. I do believe it tried to eat my tape. This has got mechanical problems. This is, of course, this is the one that had that stupid cleaner sprayed into it. It's probably just ruined my tape. Great. Watch it when I try putting a tape in here, one that I don't care about. Just a bad tape here. Yeah, this is a test tape. Let's see what it does. Yeah, it's eating tape. Wonderful. It's obviously got something on the head that's got to get cleaned off. I'm going to use a Q-tip with alcohol just to try to get whatever is on here on the drum without touching the head chips, obviously, just to try to get whatever contamination that's on here off without touching the head chips. I'm going to let that dry for a bit. Okay, this one's been drying for a little while. Let's just see whether it'll eat the tape again. Give it some power. Oh, you know, it didn't eat the tape this time. Okay, well, let's just see if it will play the tape. Probably won't, but we'll see what happens. There should be something on this tape, I think, and just regular 8mm or high 8. And I got a blue screen. So there's nothing here. Let me just try cleaning the heads with the fingernail. Okay, we got a picture. Not a great picture. It does have a picture. That's working a little bit better. Oh, look. A shark. Or is it a whale? Something out there sticking his fin up. I'll just try my... I hear noise, I hear crackling on here, like there's maybe an alignment problem or something in the sound that's got a problem. There might be an alignment problem. Let's just check the alignment here. Get my alignment tool out. See if I can get that crackling sound to disappear. Okay, let's get that pretty quiet now. Still a little bit of... The tool I'm using is that, by the way. That's the tool I'm using. Special tool. Came as part of this kit of different bits and different adapters and different sizes of bits. And that was that one there. So I've made it my permanent head alignment adjustment tool for... It works for a VHS as well. All those machines that have a pin in the middle. Makes it a little easier to adjust them. So this is playing this this digital 8 tape. I'm just going to eject it, or I mean this regular 8 tape. I'm just going to eject it and put my digital 8 tape in, and we'll try it and see how it performs. So I got to plug this in, just so that I can hit the eject button. Take the tape out. And I'll put my digital 8 tape in, and whatever I did with it. We'll see how it plays the recording I just made on the other camera when it was sitting here. Oh, it detected some high 8 on here, or regular 8. Yeah, that's regular 8. It's gonna switch back now because I went to digital. So now it's gonna switch up, and you'll see the speed increase here, and then the tape will start to move a little bit faster clip. And then play it back and make sure it works. There we go. Okay, time to play back. Rewind that back again. And that part works, so we're good. Gotta kill the sound on that. Herbie Hancock would have a bit of a problem, because they're playing Herbie Hancock music there. Rocket, the closest thing to rock that he ever did. He's a big jazz guy, so that was in his... Let me see if I can be a rock star days. If you remember the music video for that, it was pretty outrageous and funny. All the robots walking around and doing stuff. If you remember that music video for Rocket, I think it was Rocket by Herbie Hancock, but you'll remember that. Anyway, this one's playing, so that's about all we can really ask for on this one, is that it's going to play. So I'm going to throw it together. As this goes back together, you can still see the sheen of the oil. Look at that. You know, I don't know where he got this camera from. I think he bought them used is what happened. And they didn't work. So they got brought to me to look at. But this is what happens when you buy stuff. This is also broken. Someone's had it on a tripod extremely tightly. You can see it's cracked. But this is what happens when you buy used stuff. You don't know what somebody else has attempted to do. And spraying WD-40 or Neutral or Deoxit or whatever was sprayed into this camera is not going to do it any good. So now this one here, well, at least it'll function as a playback machine. The camera section's no bloody good on it. And the chassis, of course, was falling apart like you saw when I had to tighten it down, which is a really common problem on all these cameras. But at least we got a playback camera. And the other one that I was going to have as a playback camera yesterday is now fully functional. So that's a win-win on that one. We'll leave it as it is. Alright, the unit's back together. Just going to test it for playback. And we'll try another tape. We'll try my scenery tape. Looks like it's playing okay. Some damage to my tape. I think that was done by this camera when I tried to load it the first time with oil and all that crap that had dripped onto the head from somebody spraying it. But I got that cleared off. It looks like my tape's not that badly damaged. Okay, well, I can live with that. Well, that's the way it's going to stay. This one plays back fine. I'll just mark it as a playback machine. The other one records and plays. Say the other one, the cabinet's in better shape anyway, and that's why I made that one the one that would record and play. The fellow that owns this, he wants to rent them out as props for a TV show where they're looking for some vintage cameras to do something with. So I guess they're both about the same shape. This one here is a little bit better cosmetic condition anyway. This has got a few more marks on it, but it's curious. Let's just see. Holy smoke! These are actually pretty close together. Holy crap! Serial number wise, look at this. These were actually made really close together. What's the date on here? Does it say? I should look at mine and see what the serial number of mine is and see how far mine is away. 19284 and 19242. So these were probably both cameras were probably made on the same day. I got a third one. Let's just see what the serial number on it is, just for the hell of it. This one here is 19294. Holy crap. So he brings me 3 cameras, and 19242, 19284, and 19294. This was made 10 after this one. We'll be looking at this one on another video. What are the chances of that? Like, let's see what mine is just for the hell of it. Mine's a lot older. 11196. And mine actually is not in bad shape. And fully functional, I should add. But I had to change the chassis on mine because mine was one of the early ones that the chassis... Are those screws coming loose again? Probably. The chassis cut the little ribbon cable from the door. I had to change that on mine years ago. Anyway, this one's done. Thanks for watching.